As promised, we have now joined by former Arms boss and fan favourite, Neil Warnock. Neil, how are you, mate?
Very well, thank you, lads. Yeah, really been quite busy, one thing and another over the last few weeks. So it's good to just calm down a little bit now.
Yes, I've seen you do a lot of stuff on the media and stuff like that. Is that something that you're looking to continue to do now? You've put your management aside.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. I enjoy, like 𝗡𝗲𝗶𝗹 and one or two bits, but I really have enjoyed my podcasts with different people and, some of the youngsters of this world as well. And it's been great, really. I always thought Twitter and things like that, when I was manager, it was the pitch, I don't want any of my players because you don't know what they're going to say and get in trouble. And yeah, I have really enjoyed it. They don't do anything. They don't put anything out that I don't want. But I like having a laugh, really, and trying to make people smile, if I'm honest.
Can I just tell you, you've just made all of us laugh. We've just seen a picture of you as Deadpool. I don't know if you've seen it.
Have you seen it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, good.
Brilliant. We didn't know if you did it or if you knew it was on. Or
Yeah, no, they did.
Brilliant.
I did it. Well, I didn't do it, but the lad suggested. I said, yeah, get it done. And then I put the wording and everything in it. Are you with me?
Yeah, brilliant,
I had to ask. I've got to tell you the truth. I asked my daughter and William, my son, if it was all right, or will I get stitched up? If I put it out. They both said no, it's right. That's all right.
So quickly, I just wanted to start. I often hear you reflect on QPR in a lot of your podcasts and your media work with some real admiration. I know you said it's one of the most enjoyable times you've had in football. What's your initial thoughts when you reflect on your time at QPR?
It was just it was an amazing. For some reason, I love Gianni. I know he had his faults, bless him, and he got a bit of stick, but he was brilliant with me, and we just enjoyed every day. And it was. I remember coming and we were close to relegation. I think we had about, I don't know how many games we had left, 12, 14 games.
Yeah.
And I remember, I tell the story, which I can't tell you too much, he said, Steve. He says, because you'll have to wait for me show at the Shepherds at the Empire Theatre. So, but I remember we had a game early doors, first few days. Second day, I think it was, red hot day. And I wanted to know who was with me, really, in the trenches. So put your pads on, blah, blah, blah. And I had a member of staff, I can't remember who it was now, at the side of me. So he's telling me who he is and who he is and who he is. And we come to this lad in black gloves, Adel Taraabt. And I said, who's that with the black gloves on? Red hot day. Oh, you don't want to know him, he said, Gaffer. You don't want to know him, he'll get you the sack. What do you mean? He said, he just get you the sack. Managers, he's a nightmare. He says he does what he wants. You can't get anything out of him. So I said, really? Yeah. Anyhow, we had this game. And in this game, he did certain things which were brilliant. All right, he did it in his own half, which I didn't like. But he did things, and I thought, wow, I've not been around something like this for a bit. And we couldn't score goals at that time. We were short of goals. We had West Brom coming up on the Friday or Saturday, the top of the league, my first game. And I thought, I'm going to go for it here. And so I pulled him after the game and I said to Adel, I said, everybody tell me, and I talk like that, my Moroccan accent. Adel, everybody tell me you get me the sack. You get me the sack if I play you. The sack? No, not me. I said, well, everybody tells me you get me the sack if I play you. No, Gaffer. No, I don't. I said, well, on Saturday, we play West Bromwich Albion, top of the league. Yes. I said, well, I'm going to play you on Saturday, Adel. And do you know if you're shite? Do you know what shite is? I said to him. He said, yes, I know, yeah. He said, well, if you're shite, I'm going to play you the next game. And if you're shite the next game, I'm going to play you the next game. Do you know why? No, because you are going to keep us in the championship and then we will build for next year. And he's thinking, if I'm shite, I'm going to be playing, He couldn't quite grasp it at times, But I put him in and we beat West Brom that night. The crowd were brilliant that night. I've got goose pimples now talking about it. I loved it at QPR with the dugouts there and the crowd right on top of you. And then to the left behind that goal, it was so noisy. Then the other side and a far corner. It was it was just, for me, it was the perfect pitch for a manager with the proximity of the fans. And I used to milk it. I used to get the lads, try and get them on board. We used to get at the referees, get at the fourth official. And I remember Helgeson was fantastic for me. Helgeson had been bombed out.
Brilliant.
He'd been bombed out on loan somewhere, Watford, I think. And I called him in because it was the week international break. He hadn't got a game or an injury. And I called him into my office at the training ground. And I said to him, I said, you know, like you've been farmed out, Ida. He said, yes. I said, he thought I was going to sack him or tell him he can go. I said, well, you know, next year, Ida, I'm going to be here. We're going to be in the championship. I said, I'll tell you that now. You know, next year, you are going to get me promoted to the Premiership. And he looked at me. He come in thinking he was going to get the sack. I know he did. I said, I've always wanted to have somebody like you as my main man up front. You're going to be my main man. So you go back. We can't have you now. You got to go back to Watford. Don't get injured. You get ready for that pre-season now, because I'm telling you, you're going to love it playing for me. And that's how it went. He went off and came back in that summer. You know, I mean, he scored.
He was a good penalty taker, wasn't he? Unbelievable. He's my number one. We always have to say he would be our penalty taker. Him and probably Chaz, probably.
He was unflappable, wasn't he?
You know, you look in the air, wasn't he?
It was a bit like
that
Tony.
Chelsea.
You know, like Tony at Brentford.
Chilled, yeah.
He never, you know, he didn't bother. Nothing bothered him, and you know
that Chelsea one. Do you remember? Was it Chelsea? I can't remember. Was it
do
Chelsea
I remember it? Bloody hell! I should think I do remember it. I told you, it was funny because Ahmet said to me when we were in the Championship, when we were going for a promotion, Ahmet said to me, my father-in-law, you know, Mr. Mattel, he if you beat Chelsea next year, he will give you £1 million. I said, I'll remind you about that, Ahmet. I said, so, of course, we beat Chelsea that day, didn't we? I know there were all the controversy. I remember looking up at him as you come off the pitch, up above the box, you know, the directors in there. I remember looking at him going, you know, like that. But I'm still waiting for it. I think it's been delayed in the post. I think he got delayed in the post, but Ahmet was brilliant with me as well. I love working for him, and it was difficult, you know, with Bernie and Flavio. It was very, very difficult, and I've got loads of stories which I'm going to save for the Shepherd's Bush show. But you know, it was you've seen the 4-year plan. I mean, if you could get success despite that, I mean, it was incredible, really, the year. And I still see Tommy Smith cutting inside now at Watford, whacking that one in, and us two absolutely kissing each other on the bench. And it was just fabulous. What a trip home that was.
Can I just ask, how did the role come around? Because you're obviously at Palace, weren't you? Did you meet them when you took the role? Was it after?
No, it was Gianni.
To remember, it was Gianni. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Gianni. He knew. I'd met him a couple of times, and he knew that I loved. I mean, I always thought going below Watford was the pitch. I thought I'll never manage down below Watford, because who wants to manage down there with all that traffic? And of course, I go to Crystal Palace with Simon, and I had a fabulous time. I really enjoyed it with him. And then it went wrong. Obviously, he went into administration, and Gianni rang me and said, would I consider coming over to the others, you know? And I went to see him, and I said, yeah, I'll have some of that. I said, I love the pitch, I love the ground. The fans look as if they're my kind of fans, and we just agreed everything money wise. I mean, we didn't really have to. There was nothing. I just told him, this is what I want. This is what I've been on. And if you come up with that, I'll take over. And so there were no negotiations really. It was just straightforward. And I think he was chuffed to death really that I took over, because I remember the lad before, and because we got it on the 4-year plan. You've got him on the video, haven't you? Really? I can't remember his name now. And he's still managing, I think. Well, but it was the lads. They just needed, you know, that kick up the backside, really type of. We needed passion. We needed passion to get the fans going. to get, and and the players that come into the squad. I remember bringing Sean Derry and Clint Hill that first summer. And I remember going on your website. I always looked at what the fans said, and going on your sites, and they were all saying, "What's he doing? Oh, these are old men. They'll not be able to run. They can't do all these." And like Clint Hill and Derry were probably two at best players. I mean, 𝗲𝗲, I loved him. He was probably one of the best midfielders I've ever had under me, really.
We were just, funnily enough, we were just reflecting on that transfer window, retrospectively saying that it was probably the best transfer window we've had in recent, I don't know how many years. I mean, we're just looking at Jamie Mackie, Paddy Kenny, Derry, Hill, Bradley Orr, Taraabt, Rob Hulse. You've got Chimbonda, Danny Shittu. We had Wayne Routlidge on loan, Ishmael Miller, Carl Walker. I mean, what a window.
I know it was. I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better. I mean, Kyle, we had to let him go at Christmas. I got stitched up a bit there. I put him in the shop window, and we could have had him to the end of the season, but they did a deal with somebody else. Kyle still messages me now and then because he was bombed out, and he came to us, if you remember, and just loved it. Yeah. And he'll not forget that, Kyle. And with him being a Sheffield United lad as well, it was like a double bonus for me. But the players you've got mentioned there, Wayne Routlidge. I remember the game. I think was it my last game? Oh, I remember going to Reading, and I think we were down to 10 men.
Yeah,
I think that was the second time I was here, and because we're doing quite well, and I'm thinking, and I've said to Ronnie and Blackie, if we stay here, we'll get them promoted now. If we win tonight, this was before the Reading game, I think we were 2 points off the playoffs. So, and we won, and the dressing room were buzzing. And I said to them, "Hey, listen, lads, I think we can go up." And they all went, "Yeah, we can. We know we can." Blah blah. And knock on door, and Les come in. "Could I have a word, Neil?" And he took me up one side in the dressing room and said, "I'm bringing a manager in tomorrow." And 𝗲𝗲, I said, "Who is it?" He said, "I can't tell you." I said, Les, you've got to tell me. I've done a good job for you. Yes. He said, 𝗲𝗲. Yeah. So, and I thought we could have gone up that year, mate.
Well, I've got this as a question. How did you feel that season? Because we all thought you were going to get the job, and it didn't turn out not that way. Did you feel that you were going to? And what do you just pack up and leave? Is that how it works? Did you like cross each other in the hallway or anything like that? How does it?
No, I didn't see him. I just, obviously after the game, he said he was going to appoint him tomorrow and do a press conference. So I think I actually went back and said to the lads, got all the lads together, got them before they got on the bus. I just said, "Listen, lads, I'm sorry. I know I said I thought we were going to get a promotion, but I've got to tell you, I'm not going, the new manager's coming in tomorrow." I said, I feel distraught as we talk. Because I'm convinced that you lot could have got me promotion, but nothing we can do. We don't run the club, and I have come in just to help Les, and I did say I'd come in to help them, but I thought not going to take much to just say, just give it to the end of the season, Neil, and see what you can do, because we turned the corner. We'd got a few good results and gone up the table. So that was one of my biggest disappointments, really. But I understood. He wanted to bring somebody else in, and it was his prerogative, and that's what they did.
Obviously, Neil, you touched a minute ago on 𝗲𝗲. How did you kind of deal with the whole saga around his transfer, and we could have been docked points? How did you deal with that? Did you know a lot about it? Were you kind of kept in the loop?
I made it my mind. What I did is, and I don't think Johnny will mind me saying it, or Flavio or Bernie, you had to take a lot what they said with a pinch of salt. And I was in a situation where I needed to know everything. So I asked Gianni who our solicitors were, and I made an appointment with them, and I went to see them in their offices. And I asked all the questions that a manager should ask. And they gave me great answers. They assured me, and I knew they couldn't lie to me. They gave me all the answers that I wanted to know. And after the meeting that I had with them, I was convinced we wouldn't lose points. All the way I was convinced. But I think it was the Sun and one or two papers were really going for us You know, they were really, you know, this club should be stripped and docked 20 points and all this lot. And they didn't know any of the facts. And that really hurt me. But I had to keep my mouth shut. I thought, you know, if I've been told what I've been told, it'll come right in the end. And it was, like you said, the last game, wasn't it, really? Just before the game. I remember Johnny running in. Hey, we're free. We're free. No point deducted, you know. And then none of us could even... I mean, Leeds beat us that day. And really, the euphoria at 1 o'clock and knowing about the points, everybody were drained. Everybody, even the fans, I think, were drained. And you could see that, but we'd already gone up, so it didn't really matter as such.
Yeah. How was Falling when that happened? Was he, you know, distraught? Yeah. How was he?
He was. I think Ali actually cried in front of me in the dressing room. This was before the game when we found out, and I give him a hug, and we still message every so often. He was just such a smashing lad. Oh dear me, definitely the best left-footed player I've ever had under me in all my life. Yeah. He was just a gem of a lad for a manager to deal with. It was like, you didn't have to say anything to him. He was just silky. A couple of times I had to have a go if he tried to dribble in towards his own goal in his own half at times, just a couple of times. Not like Taraabt, not like Adel. Adel. I mean, you know what I did with Adel early doors? I banned him from going in our half.
Yeah,
Adel. You've heard that one before. And so, you know,
with Adel, obviously he had like a phenomenal season for us. But Paddy Kenny was the one who got Player of the Year. Obviously, you have a brilliant relationship with him. You've kind of taken him everywhere. Why do you have so much trust and faith in him?
Because you judge goalies on how many mistakes they make. Paddy very rarely made a mistake. He might make 2 in a season. Whereas you see a lot of the goalies now, and there's some of them's bloody accident waiting to happen. But Paddy very rarely made a mistake, and he was a good lad, a big lad, and I took him, had him 3 places. And I told him he wouldn't regret coming, he'd enjoy it, and he did. You know, we had a great spirit in that dressing room, and I mean, Adel was disappointed that night at the awards when Paddy got the Player of the Year, and he come past me. I don't believe this. I do not believe it. I'm going home. I'm done. And he took off him. I had to go and speak to him day after and say, look, this is what happens. People vote, and Paddy's had a great season, Adel, but you're my man. You're my man of the season, and that's got to be enough for you. You're the fans' man of the season. You give happiness to all our fans so many times with your ability, and he got a good move from there. You know, he got a good move and ended up getting a really good contract with somebody like Benfica or somewhere. Yeah. And he's never had a season like that since. He's never had a season where he's played 30, 40 games. You know, I had a few escapades during the season, which I'll tell you all about on the show. But it was a privilege to build a side like that, and the fans. You know, whenever I go in London, don't matter just whether it's Shepherd's Bush or what have you, wherever I go in London, either a taxi driver or somebody, they'll all come up to me. I'm a QPR fan, Neil. Thank you. I was there. Thank you. And, you know, went to Watford and things like that. It's fabulous to go back into London. I do enjoy, because I did enjoy my time with them, you know, so much.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I wanted to start my questions off, Neil, with literally just thanking you for that season. Like, that was the best season I've ever experienced as a QPR fan. It was the year I was graduating uni. I just found like everything came together perfectly. We went into the season with like no real expectations, and it was just brilliant to watch. So yeah, from a personal point of view, just wanted to obviously thank you for ultimately giving us fans so much happiness that year.
And it was, wasn't it? I mean, you couldn't put it in words, because if you look at the bookies that summer, we should have finished in the bottom half, shouldn't we, with the bookies?
Yeah.
And then you look at the teams that were at the top trying to get us points deducted, and we never let it worry us. We just carried on playing and beating everybody. It was a wonderful time, and had some great times with the fans. I've even got, I don't know whether you ever went, did you any of you go abroad when we went to Italy for the pre-season?
No.
We played a competition in Italy, and I think Flavio organised it, and we won in a competition with 4 teams in it. There were, I can't remember. I've got it all down, but anyhow, we got a big cup, and I found the cup. In my loft about 2 years later. I didn't know it was in a big bag, which we'd put up there, and I didn't know that I'd brought the cup home, mate. So I've got this cup. So I said to the lads when I come up to QPR, have they got a supporters club? He said, yeah. I said, well, can you get somebody to speak to me? Because I'd like to give them this cup. I don't want to chuck it away, and it's a lovely cup. And it's got the name 𝗶𝗪, I think it was. And we played 3 teams and won it. And so I want to give it to the supporters when I can. And I have got some, I've got loads of shit. I'm going to I've got all memorabilia from the times, and I've got some signed shirts at QPR. I'm going to do for charity. I'm going to get rid of all my memorabilia in the next 12 months.
You're not doing your jocks, are you?
Not doing my jock straps. No. No, I don't. No, that was for my playing career. That. Listen, lad, you've got about another 2 minutes now. I've got to go. I've got to watch a game at 1:45.
Brad, do you want to go to your part?
Can I just quickly jump in then with this quick fire before you go?
Yeah, go.
So, best atmosphere you've managed in?
Difficult, that really. The clubs that I've had real success. You know, my Sheffield United as a boy, to get them promotion. The atmosphere at Cardiff was fabulous. At QPR were brilliant. Palace was amazing as well. The fans at Palace. I've had some great clubs, really. And I tell you what, were really good. And I didn't get promotion. I just kept Rotherham up one year, 16 games, and the old New York Stadium were bouncing when we beat Leeds United. Oh dear, little Rotherham.
Best player you've ever managed?
Once again, difficult. That I mean, Adel, skill-wise, Victor Moses, Wilfred Zaha, a lot of fabulous ability. You know, I wouldn't want to pick one of them.
VAR or no VAR?
Well, I'm a big instigator because I got relegated at Cardiff when Chelsea scored a goal 2 yards offside, and the bloody linesman said he were blinded by the whatever it were. So I wanted VAR, but I must admit I'm glad it's come at the end of my career.
Yeah.
Because I think you've got to give VAR, and you've got to say if you get a decision within 60 seconds, if not, you go with the referee.
Yeah.
That's what it's got to do for me. You can't be doing 3 or 4 minutes. But I think Howard Webb will change it because he's a good lad, Howard Webb, not like the last one. You know,
pie or a pasty?
Difficult because I like steak and ale pie with me lunch with me gravy and peas. But when I'm in Cornwall, I like the pasta. At Plymouth Argyle, we get a pasty to take home with us at the end of the game. So I'm a bit of both.
Most underrated QPR player in your time at the club?
That would probably have been the big centre half. What would they call him? Big guy. Oh, what was his name? Big long hair.
Casper Gorks.
Casper Gorks.
That's him, Gorksy. I mean, Gorksy he played well every week, and yet you couldn't see how he played well. His body were all over his show. He couldn't do this. They couldn't. But nobody got past him. I thought he was superb, mate.
2 more. So, Prem refs or Championship refs?
Neither. Both poor.
Just on that one, I've got to give a mention for 𝗏𝗏. He sends his regards. He's a friend of the pod.
He was the old-fashioned one. He had a chat with you. He spoke to you, and he had a bit of common sense and what have you. Where I mean, there's some good ones coming through. The lad Gillard's coming through, but he's Australian, and people like Oliver who's done it all now. There's quite a few of them, but there's still a lot of computer ones which Mike Riley brought in because he was a computer when he refereed, Mike Riley. So like what your tutor is really, isn't it?
I've got a last one: blue and white or red and white?
Well, how can I say that? I put a blue and white shirt on tonight, because we're there. I do like my strip. I like the QPR strips, if I'm honest. But Sheffield United, I love Sheffield United strip as well. So it don't bother me either one of them.
Neil, we'll let you go, mate. Let's
All right.
watch the Sheffield United game. Are you? Wrexham?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck, mate. And just quickly for everyone listening, Neil's at the Shepherd's Bush Empire Hall on the 28th of May, 4 p.m. Get your tickets. We'll all be there.
I've done it
We'll see you
early.
there, mate.
I've done it early so that you can have a nice laugh and then go and have a quick jog of beer at the end. Are you with me? A nice glass of lager somewhere.
We'll see you there,
Nice
Neil.
one, Neil.
They're on you, are they, the beers?
Cheers.
Cheers, Neil.
Cheers,
Neil.
lads.
Thanks for coming on.
Right.
Thanks, lads.